go. There you go.
Okay.
What's
Oh,
going
don't
on,
stop the
man?
music for me. Don't stop the music for me. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm here. I was rocking. I left. You know what I mean? I had to go back outside like, yo, it's crazy in there, B. I got to go back in. But y'all should come. Meet me in there. We vibing. They had Kendrick earlier. I was on the list. I was waiting outside. I heard the cat. I'm like, okay. And then I came back. Oh, it's dance now. It's jig. It's going. It's time. I'm here. Good morning. Good morning.
Man.
What up, yo?
Good morning, brother.
Baby.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Outliers podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Sunday morning, ready to do some podcasting.
Sir.
We have a person that's been a guest on the show many times, friend of the show, friend in real life, comedian, writer. You may know him as co-host of the podcast Comedy Outliers. It's my man Mike Brown. What's going on, brother?
Yo, living good, feeling blessed, so blessed. Went out last night, recharged my blackness. I don't know how y'all do it, but it's hard out here. Had to recharge.
You gotta recharge the blackness every once in a while. It's like Green Lantern's ring, where the Green Lantern gotta like suck it, gotta get some of that energy, and then you come back.
Listen, I woke up. This was around my neck. I don't know how it happened. I woke up like this. I said, what? I said, how did this happen? How did this happen?
To the east, my brother, to the east. Okay. For those that listen on audio only, he pulled out the black medallion. Okay.
Yeah.
Black, red, black, and green.
Yes, took it back to the roots. And Mike, I wanted to tell you that I know this, and I tell this to a lot of people, but for most people, we've met, but we've always met only virtually. And I got to see you in person for the first time, and it was a wonderful thing. And you looked the same, because it was hilarious, because me and Roger was sitting there, and you walked by, I said, that look like Mike Brown. And it was. And I was thinking, I hope it is, because I don't want to feel stupid going, hey, Mike, and they turn around going,
oh, no. No, it's me. That's right. There's no hatfish in here, okay?
And
so, you know what I'm saying? Because I would just listen to Ari Lennox too, right? And she was talking about you hatfish and you catfish. I'm like, wait, no, both community. We out here. I don't even gotta wear the hats. I used to. No, now it's me. I'm outside. You do all this.
It's interesting too, because I taken Karen to see the Super Video Bros. And it
was so much fun.
I don't think I told Karen like where we were going and who was all gonna be there and stuff. So I just posted up in the lobby or whatever. I knew they were coming, and we were just chilling, having a couple of drinks. And then so to Karen, it was all a surprise. It was like, Mike Brown, what? Dylan, what is happening? It was
like, awesome. I'm going to see y'all through the video screen.
It was a vibe. Man. And I really appreciate y'all coming out. I'm sorry to cut, but y'all coming out, it's different because when we had COVID, we couldn't do the shows in person. And we were rocking right before COVID happens. We were rocking. So when we stopped, it's all right, we want to do some shows in person, and we need to feel that energy. So seeing family in the audience is oh yeah, we do. And we say, oh, it's going to be a nice night. We're going to rock. You know what I mean? It's just you just,
right. Yeah, it was interesting.
I'm real hyped on this episode. It's going to be classic. I apologize.
You're hyped. I apologize.
I apologize.
We need this more than energy. I'm drinking coffee too. So the other thing I was going to ask is, how is Super Video Bros going? Because I think when we went, it was your first time being at the QED. We had a great time. Honestly,
I know I was super hyped. So
it's an audience involved type of situation. Yes. So y'all, you kind of get to play along with them. They ask questions and stuff from the audience. So to me, it was such a great time. But how's that going too?
It's going good. Me personally, I'm when I produce, when I'm in that vibe, I'm I get very particular, and I know y'all doing it, y'all get that way too. So it's the first time in QED was cool. I love that space, but I'm I don't know if this is the space for what we want to do. You know what I mean? It's also you went to the Drunk Black History, right? And that is a different space and has a different energy. And I'm Video Bros could work there, but it's also man, it needs to be funky. You know what I mean? It needs to be in a basement somewhere where if you know, and you can just wild out, have a good time, celebrate. And it's this kind of secret, big, monstrous thing. So that right now is what we're trying to figure out. Okay, how do you how do we make that happen? How do we take it back to that essence? I don't want it to be too sheeny, you know, especially too with everything that's going on. It feels like I want everything to be extra black, right?
Right.
Because it was always just black. It was always like, no, it's black, you know, it's black is for fun. Like, oh, this is what is this black comedy? Oh, y'all didn't know this is black comedy. Now I'm like, oh, fuck y'all now. All right, I try to relax.
And then the other thing too is like y'all brought back Comedy Outliers the podcast.
Yay!
Yeah.
And Comedy Outliers the show.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like you getting your production hat all the way back on.
I'm here for all of this. I was sad when it went away. I'm like, I have podcasts when they disappear off my feed. I just cry and I just go back periodically and just refresh, hoping one day I see a spark of a download or something. Yeah. So just know I've been the one looking for you.
So can you tell people, one, what Comedy Outliers is, and then two, like what made y'all decide to bring it back?
All right. So Comedy Outliers is a show. It's more of a brand now. When we first started, it was just a show that we did like, all right, me and Brandon Collins were like, yeah, we're both funny comedians. And we see all these shows and they have all these great comedians on it, but none of them are black. Why do we keep getting overlooked? We want to have a dope show. Also, in our class, there's so many funny people who are not getting any kind of love. Why are they being overlooked? And we're like, okay, if instead of answering the question, we were like, we're going to start a platform to answer that question so we don't have to ask it anymore. Fuck asking, let's do something, right? So it started like that. Then it became a podcast. So for like 5 years, I want to say we gave some of the best podcast episodes ever. Like we were tearing the streets up, you know. Then we took a break because, you know, Brandon had to do some stuff. I was doing some stuff. I was on Sam B. I had like sold a pilot and I was working on all these things. And it's like, you get that feeling of like, okay, I know I'm ascending and I'm still ascending and Brandon's ascending. It's like, all right, we can't put in the type of work that we want to put in to make this thing right. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's not fool the people. Let's have a little respect for what we're doing. So we stopped. And it's funny because I remember coming on you guys' show and being like, yo, we still cool. And you'd be like, yo, cool, bro. Y'all good? Like, yeah, we good. We patch it up, you know, not even patch it up, but like, yeah, we back, but we didn't get a chance to really rock.
Right. And
then I know y'all have spoken to him, but like he's been in LA. So the more we would talk and just connecting back on like, yo, this ain't about business. Like, bro, what's good? How are you? And then feeling back and be like, all right, do we feel like doing this? Do we want to do it? And then getting back into it now. I think the podcast right now is better than it's ever been. I really feel like that. Like we talk some comedy stuff. We also talk some real life stuff. Brandon's in a different place. Like I'm in a different place. I feel like I'm doing my gray hair justice. You know what I mean? Like I feel more mature.
I giving them a little wisdom.
Yeah, a little wisdom. Like I'm like, yo, I'm outside, but I'm not like wilding outside. I'm not running around the streets. You know, I'm on the stoop. I'll step.
I think also for me, like one of the things I love about Comedy Outliers is you get like the kind of behind the scenes, you know, real talk that I think most comedians are kind of afraid to do.
Right.
Because, you know, as much as comedy is promoted as like this meritocracy of just be funny and shit, like it's obviously us with eyes that are fans, you see that it's more than just be funny because it's whims to why motherfuckers making it don't. And
it's a lot of be funny that ain't famous.
Yeah, it's a lot of like, you know, behind the scenes shit or like this person don't fuck with this person and all that. Right. And so it was cool that there's this spot where people like can just kind of be open about like this was my experience like with this thing. And it's not even vindictive or like it's not like salacious or like here's my hot take. Like it's just straight up like how I imagined at the time, how I was like imagining black people be talking in the industry, in the green room, in the industry, you know, on the text thread, but everybody was kind of afraid to do it. So like that was the main thing I loved about it. And when the show stopped, I never assumed like these motherfuckers got beef or something.
No, I was like,
but I know enough to ask. You know what I'm saying? I know enough to ask though. That's why I had to be like right, like if I book y'all on the show together, it's not gonna be like some shit where y'all be like, I can't believe Rod did that. That's fucked up. I had to ask.
Right, that's so real because you gotta put the journalist hat on and also just like, yo, brother to brother, like, yo, All good.
All good, right? Like I don't. Yeah.
I just want to be sure.
I ain't want to fuck around and be like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I booked y'all together, and then y'all be on the show like, I can't believe this motherfucker's here. So,
you booked him. I have COVID. I just did the test. I can't be on the stream no more. You know, hey, what's up? Like, hey, love you, Rob. Love you, Karen. What's up, Mr. Collins? And just like,
I see you here.
I see you, brother. All is well.
So I had
you look good, brother. You look good, brother.
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah, let's go out for drinks.
Yeah. Didn't want none of that vibe. And I can say for me.
Yeah, funny. we do. I do jokes. Yeah. I'm happy. How about you, Nick? No.
Be like, wow, the energy changed. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Nah, it's me and Brandon. So this is like, I think we're in the best place we've ever been as, and this is. Yeah, I think new masculinity and all that. I don't know. It's like I feel like we're at a different space where it's like, oh, we see each other. All right. Oh, this is real. You want to go behind the scenes, have some super real conversation here in this morning? Okay, on this Sunday. Okay. I hope y'all got y'all drinks. I hope y'all locked in. Hope you locked in because we're gonna ride. So there's a thing when you're doing comedy, right? And you're on your journey, being a comedian, figuring out what you're gonna do. For me, and I think a lot of other comics, you just focus on doing comedy. Like, yo, this is all I want to do. I'm dedicating my life to this. And you make so many decisions based on chasing that, and that thing becomes the most important thing. And I think it's in other industries too. Like if you're acting, if like a podcast, you're like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm gonna work the room. I'm that. And you try to and you become something that is not who you are, and you stay away kind of like from your roots. So while that happens, you're in this new community, and it's like, are you grounded or not? Now, when we started Comedy Outliers, me and Brandon, both Black comics, both Black producers, we saw each other. You know, you see someone like, oh, I see you. And we're like, okay, we're rocking. Now, it's like, I see you, but this is bigger than comedy for me. This is bigger than Comedy Outliers to me. Like, no, I love doing this with you. Like, yeah, we can do this. This is fun. It's always going to be a great show. But this has some of that chase the quote unquote bag energy. But that's not the only thing it is. It's not like when the mics are off, I don't talk to Brandon anymore. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like when we're not on stage, it's not like, yo, what's up? You good? What's going on? We talking shit. Like it's more of that. So it feels like now when we do the podcast, it's like, oh, let's just record this conversation versus let's do this podcast. And that feeling, it's so good and free. And
I think also like it helps that y'all were able to be successful apart too in those ways. Like y'all each had different milestones in y'all's careers between the time that y'all were doing it the first time and the comeback. Because I feel like that individual validation matters. Because one thing about partnership is that people will stop seeing you as an individual sometimes, and it'll be like, oh, the partnership of this, the combination of this, or and as a husband and wife team, it even happens with us. Like, people will book both of us on something where you could tell they just kind of wanted the one of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, y'all could have.
We like, it would have been fine. Nobody was gonna be offended.
Yeah, we didn't take this personal, and it's times, and like I said, I don't take it personally because I know me and Roger have two different vibes, two different feels. Like we don't have the same brain, and so. It's been times where people just want Roger, and it's okay if you just book him.
Yeah, I think
like I'm not offended. I don't take it personally.
Yeah,
I be doing shit too.
Yeah, and you have your day, you have your time.
Right.
Like I don't gotta do this.
Right. Exactly. Cool. So I think like that, like, and then coming back with those individual experiences too, because like you working in front of the camera, being a writer as well. Brandon being a writer, going out to fucking LA, that kind of stuff. I think it all brings together different experiences, and then it's kind of cool to hear y'all like trade those. Like, hey, this is what I picked up on this, and have you experienced this too? And so I don't know. I love the return, man. I've been rooting for it the whole time, to be honest. Like I was always like, I've never put pressure on nobody. Like I wasn't popping up like, when y'all gonna get back. It was like, when it popped back up, I was like, good, man. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's one of my favorite podcasts, period.
It is. And one thing I absolutely love about the show, as somebody who is a non-comedian, quote unquote, which means I don't, do like you guys do.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about comedy. You guys and Three Guys On. I would sit and I would listen to you guys, and I would learn how to construct jokes. And I know y'all just talking and this is second nature to you, but to me, a lot of that stuff was new. So I would learn things like what a callback was, what certain terms was, like if they said certain things, like when you go, particularly with us being our own producers and doing our own live shows, learning what the lingo is and what these things mean, and not trying to find and learning your value and what you're supposed to charge. I'm not trying to, shit like that is what I learned. And it helped me sharpen my comedy skills. It helped me be more funny. It helped me learn how to, because what I've realized is when you're telling a joke, it's like jump rope. And you have a single one, and sometimes you have double dutch. And double dutch was fucking me up. And I was like, wait a minute, going too fast. What is happening? When do I jump in? And so I learned how to just fuck it and jump in. And if I fuck up the ropes, it's okay. They were hard. Like it's okay to take that. Okay to fuck at it and be bad at it and stuff like that. And you guys kind of taught me that.
Well, first of all, thank you. And also, I know that y'all know that you've inspired us. Like, you get your flowers. I don't know how many times y'all get your flowers, but just like being independent and creating a space where it's like we can come and enjoy our Sunday mornings. We can enjoy these times during the week. You know what I mean? Even with the the Spotify, when that was happening, it was just like, it's like, yes, it felt like a real win. You know what I mean? It's
right. A team win. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a real thing too. Like with comedy, it's like when you see your friends start making it, you have that yes, but you also have that hate. There's also like a little bit of hate. Like, yes, that no. There's a little bit of that. It's
a little bit of how you get that.
Who books that? Who what's that? I'm talking Jimmy. Was that Jimmy Fallon? You gonna tell Jimmy to call? Hey, Jimmy, James, James, it's me. What we doing? That's how you feel. But when
it's funny too, because like I know on the writer side of it, writing for Game Theory, and it being a late night black comedy show, there was a lot. Like I could feel the difference sometimes talking to people where they be on some like kind of like. Yeah, but how you? I mean, I know you funny, but like you be writing this shit too. Like what happened?
And I'm like, this nigga been writing his whole goddamn life. Like I got letters from when he was a kid. He's a right ass nigga.
Yeah. And it's like they just don't see it, and they don't see it. They look like, wait a minute, I just thought you was talking. You be putting words down. Wait, how did you? How
when you had time to do all that?
Yeah, what's the game theory? What game you running? What is this? Brother?
Right.
Can't you just be happy for the man? And it's
right.
And I know that y'all felt this because like talking about being like one of a team, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I know during our extension, I think like I'm more like energetic, where Brandon is more like a kind of like he'll be like cool jazz vibe, and then he'll get hot, and then he'll like chill out, and I'll just be like energy. So people are like, oh, Mike, we want you here. And I'm like, yo, but you should get Brandon. Something like, oh, no, we just want you. I'm like, okay, cool. And I don't know how that might have hit him.
Right.
But I also was always, from the beginning, I was like, yo, we are on this journey together. I don't care what happens in my career. I'm not the type of person to be like, yo, I made it. I'm out. Peace, y'all. I'm not like that.
Right.
I'm like, yo,
you the homie.
Yeah, like if I can get up to this spot and I see like, okay, there's a door, I can open the door. All right, come on, yo, let's go. I'm always gonna be like that. Yeah. So seeing Brandon, and it's also like when I look what Brandon's done, he was a part of the Universal Studios motion picture writing program, right? And I think there's like each session, they might pick like 6 people, right? Mm-hmm. There's over thousands and thousands of applicants, right? So it's not like, oh, Brandon got his pros. Like, no, Brandon got it. It's like,
right.
This is elite level type of thing.
A lifetime experience.
Yes, it's a lifetime experience. It's elite. It's something that you can point to and touch. Like I can say, yeah, I always knew I was funny. I always knew I was a comedian, all these things. And it felt like when I got my Sam B credit, I was like, okay, can we all not question it? We wasn't questioning it before.
Exactly.
Can we not question it now? Like as podcast, oh, you got a podcast? You got a little podcast? You take a little podcast? Okay, we're on Spotify. We got to... Okay, right. Like I don't want to have to.
I think that's what was interesting about like the professional cosigns, because to me, I already felt that before I was that. So like to me, it's like we made thousands of episodes of this podcast. Spotify comes along, it's like we like to be down with that, and I'm like, of course you would be. Behind the scenes, we negotiated for months of like telling them no and all this shit, and then we eventually got on. With them, but it was different for some, like the amount of like praise when that was announced it was different. It was mad people coming out. Some people that I know don't even really fuck with us like that, but they was just like happy, and I don't mean it in a negative way. Like
just like it's
but it was like, oh, this is a thing. This is an actual milestone. I'm sure you felt that when it was like with Sam B. It's like it's people where it's like, oh, I knew you were doing your thing. But like, I just thought you was just, I wasn't checking it out. But now, the people who are responsible for saying this is good and bad have said you are good. So now it's a different vibe of like, oh, you really be doing your thing.
Listen. When I got it, I thought I was out of here. I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen. That ego monster came. That shit came. I was like, hey, I'm right outside.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, Samantha, it's my ground. It's Sam B and Mike B. What are we doing? Like I was ready. I thought I was out of here. This is why guys hilarious. Because he'll be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get you this job. You like to talk to people. I'm gonna get you this job. I'm gonna get you. You're gonna be a field correspondent. You're gonna go out. You're gonna talk to people. You're gonna do this shit. And then also COVID. Stay indoors. Figure it out. And then you have to really be like, yo, I've been doing this for how long? Is this the journey? Does this make sense? All the question, and and now it's like, oh yeah, man, this is what I do. I can't change it. I've tried to fit into certain roles. I'm like, nah, it's just me. It's just me. I just gotta give them the me, like the unapologetic. Yeah.
Right. And I am who I am, and that's kind of what it is. And I know for me, when you talking about like a duo that's separate, I know that for me, when Roger went to New York, I kind of did my own kind of personal challenge to myself to actually get better. And, as far as like my comedy and podcasting and being sharper and being more quicker. And so during that time, like we talk about the individuality, I spent a lot of time with Randolph and Andy on 3 Guys On. And they kind of trained me without knowing they were training me. Like Roger has told me in the past to be more aggressive, to speak up, to not wait, and shit like that. Yeah. And so being with them, they allowed me to be myself. Even though I'm not a comedian, they still kind of welcome me in. And Randolph said, you can come on anytime. And I was like, oh, don't tell me I can come in anytime, because that's what I did. And so I got there and I got sharper, I got quicker, I got faster, I got better. I realized it's a muscle. And I realized that muscle started getting really stronger. And I realized my puns started getting better. Even though they're bad, they're better puns. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And so I feel like I can play with the best of them now,
Yeah.
And it's actually sometimes that separation, like doing it kind of on your own, kind of,
right.
With rails, don't get me wrong, but doing it kind of on your own kind of helped me. So I do think that individuality does matter.
So let me ask you this, Mike. Is the writer strike affecting you as well up there? Or like, have you gone to any marches? Is it like a thing? How's it going for you?
All right. Let me tell you this. Shout out to the writers. I haven't gone to any marches, but I do find it interesting how everyone understands protesting and holding the line now that we're talking about some writing stuff. when Black Lives Matter was going on, I did not see this type of organization. I don't know why, and it feels a little awkward. Like it's like, hey, why don't you change your mic? Why don't you change to the orange avatar? We stand with it. I'm just like, can I just have my black face to show that I'm part of Black Lives Matter? Not like as an organization, just the idea of just being black. Like every day when I walk outside, I'm technically marching at this point. You see what's happening. So have I been outside marching with them? No. Do I respect what they're doing? I get it. Go on strike. That is the function of all that. I know industry-wise, it's like there's not going to be and I'm also I'm a part of SAG. So I know it's like acting wise, we're kind of like, all right, we about to join the writers, right? But regardless, it's like, okay, you can have these directors, right? The directors can still work. I think they okayed their stuff, right? The writers are like, we're not writing. So what you're probably going to do is get like a lot more unscripted content, which is cool. But I'm like, nobody's going to watch that. If you don't have the writers, then you can't have actors because you need writers to write the things for the actors to shoot for it to be a scripted thing. You're also seeing Sam B was kind of a part of, I think, the restructuring of Warner Brothers at the time when we got wrapped. So it was like the Big Show, Batgirl got dropped at the same week. So it was like Sam B, something else, and like the Batgirl movie. And the Batgirl movie was like, oh, the Batgirl movie. I'm like, no, Warner's just clearing house. Clearing house of a lot of things. And then you're seeing the same thing with HBO, or I don't want to say because checks happen, but they taking things off the stream, just like, hey, we don't want to play them. See the time. And you see that. And for me, the way it's affected me is I start looking at it like, okay, so if this is what I do, if this is part of my gift with the world, how do I share it? And am I letting the industry dictate if I can share my gifts or not?
Right.
Because, if you're doing stand-up, right? When you go to do stand-up, you're like, oh, I'm funny. I want to go on stage. And you have to fall on your face, and you do all those things. And then you finally get to a point where they're like, oh no, he's funny. He does what he does, or she does what, like, this person's dope. When you're trying to get like in the industry in order to like write and whatever, some people can get in where it's just like, oh, I know this person, they rock. There's other people who have to they're like writing and submitting, and they do all these things, and they kind of have to bow down to the industry in order to get in and then feel accepted. Yep. And it's like, I understand the mentality of it. Like I understand, like, yo, you gotta pay your way. Let me know what's real. But it doesn't feel good to me. So like now I'm just like, all right, if I'm not bowing down, like do I not shoot something myself? Like one of the greatest joys also was like when I shot my web series, and was like,
I love that.
It was just something I was like, oh, I just want to make this thing. And it created it that helped me get into it. But I was like, I wasn't doing this for that. Right. I'm happy that it happened. But I was like, no, this is funny. People are gonna like this. I like this. I want to share this with y'all. And that's what I get back to. Like, I just want to just do dope. I just want to do dopeness. Like, and just be associated with that. Like, oh, this is quality. This is great. This is excellence right here. That's all.
Also, like, I don't know about for you, but I know also it kind of helps that it's above me. You know what I mean? Like, I did my part. Like, I voted. Like, yeah, we striking. Y'all figure that shit out. I don't like. I'm a nigga that just gotta live. I gotta make the ends meet. So like, let me know when y'all figure that out. But
protest.
Like it was really. I'm really thankful to have the podcast and to have monetized it and maintained it. Especially like after I got the game theory thing, you could feel this vibe of like, oh, so you gone, right? And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna keep this because I don't trust nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I trust the audience way more than I trust anything happening in Hollywood, because it just seems like it's so much shit out of your control.
Right.
With game theory, you get like these, like, there's like, you do your work, you try to make it as good as possible, but there's always these people you don't even know. You don't even talk to them. You never see them. They don't know your name. Somewhere they're making a decision that will affect your life. And so you can't get too caught up in like your value based on that shit, because it could just literally be a whim. Like somebody, like it'd be some shit like, this dude is now the new COO of HBO. I don't know this man. He don't know me. he could just show up and be like, you know what, I decided we should be a documentary channel. And that shit has so many ripples and affects so many people. And it happens every day. And I think the biggest realization most people are having now is people are realizing how much not smart the people at the top of things are. Yeah. Like, people are having that moment of like, oh, wait, so this nigga took over Twitter and fucked it up? Like, I thought he was a genius. Like, people are having those moments. So I think if once you have that level of understanding, you personally take it less it's less of a valuation on my work. Yeah. If somebody were to say like, we canceled the show, I'm like, yeah, that got shit to do with me. Cool. Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing and creating and being funny and whatever. Cause it really be above you. And like I said, for me, it's some type of relief to that, as opposed to like, I'll put it this way. I'd rather get laid off than fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, laid off is like, we fired 12 people today. Mm-hmm. Fired is they came to your desk and was like, get no shit. And I think getting laid off don't fuck with my ego the way that getting fired.
Yeah, you know what? Because getting laid off, that's really community building. That's just a community.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We in it together. Let's go, Mark.
Yeah, we all together. We all outside.
Yes, I have the t-shirt. I actually got a Writers Guild t-shirt.
I do love that. I do love that angle of so y'all can hold signs. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. That's
really felt like I was out here on my own for a while.
Yeah. So y'all do understand no justice, no peace. Y'all do understand this now. Okay. Noted. Okay.
Cool. Noted. Well, before we were just interrupting your brunch, but okay, cool. You down with it now?
We understand inequality now. We understand people's paychecks ain't the same. Oh, word?
Yeah, it did take me a second too, because I did have the thing where like, and I know everybody who wasn't a writer who heard about like the writer's strike, they're like, why are they striking? And on one side, you have these like super writers who make so much money, and they're like, we just want our fair share. And we're like, man, y'all making hand over fist money. Why don't y'all just shut up? Why don't you write AI a thank you letter or something? Why are you starting? Just hush, shut up, get your money, and keep going. And then on the other side of the field, it's like you see all these writers, and everybody does it on Instagram, like, the posture, like, yo, it's me. And then they be coming out like, I could only afford bread for 5 weeks. I'm like, damn, man, you live like this? Write a book then. Don't get on a TV. You're not making a living.
Like, it don't help that the majority of the writers' jobs are in New York and LA, because the cost of living is so extraordinarily high.
Both of those places.
But like that, I do get it as just a normal regular nigga. It's so hard to connect to someone telling you like, yeah, all I got for that show was $70,000, and I'm supposed to live like this, and so you got regular niggas that's like, I'm living on 30,000, my nigga, like
pretty well.
Yeah, like get a roommate. Like, you got to explain the whole thing to them, and it's fucked up because the game is rigged that way for you to not be able to explain it. But like, once the people, and of course, because it's writers, there's no better group equipped to explain this shit, because they write fucking 75-page threads.
Like, nigga, words is what I do.
And they'll break it down like, well, after I pay my agent, and after I pay my lawyer, and after they take the taxes, and then and then the cost of living, and it's like, oh, that's how you got down to a cup of coffee a day. I see you, brother.
Yeah, it's early on in doing comedy, when I used to host a show called The Big Pony Show. It was me, Rojo Perez, Molly Austin, and Shaq Stanley, and Tanisha Long, who was on Girl Code back in the day, right? Yeah. And she was on Girl Code, and she was doing it. And I was like, yo, Tanisha, you killing shit right now. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yo, let me tell you what the real is.
Yes.
She was like,
Ray Sani did that to me my first year writing. She just hung out with me and Karen at the apartment. Mm-hmm. And she was just like breaking down how the money is distributed and how many people touch it before you see it. Yeah. I also had coworkers where, because I work for myself and I have my own business and I was just getting paid through my business, I wasn't actually getting a check. So
they tax the hell out of personal checks.
It was like low key. It was like lucky and smart that I was it was like they made it a little difficult, but it was like one extra paperwork. But they made it seem like it was the most paid. Like, well, why would you do that? I'm like, man, what? I know that these white people here are not paying themselves through. I know
they not.
Come on now. Come on. I know I ain't got an agent, but come on now.
You're trying to gaslight. Come on, you're from Carolina. You don't need to do anything.
Exactly. Right.
Protect yourself.
Give me one of them W sheets. I know it's a W, one of them numbers. Just
9, 2, 45. You know, age, you know it.
Yeah. Let me fill it out. So I paid myself through that, and you know, not luckily not having an agent, not having a lawyer, all that stuff, like it just came straight to me.
Yeah.
But I would have coworkers, man. That first season, I remember being there like week 6, week 8 or something, and somebody was like, "Hey, man, so you got paid yet?" I said, "Bro, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't getting paid. I got paid before we showed up. Like
it's my mom."
Yeah, I wouldn't have made this trip up here, my nigga.
Like, brother, I got it like that. I don't got it like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I didn't have a check, I'd just be at home in Charlotte. Like, I guess they didn't do the show.
And Roger had me joking. Roger was like, I went up there and I realized I'm the broke nigga. He was like, everybody got these Macs. I got a regular ass PC.
Well, yes, I remember the day I showed up the second season too, because the second season we were in person almost the whole time. And I want to say it was like day one, I went into the other people writers' room and shit that had already been there for like a week or two.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's up, y'all? How everybody doing? Y'all good?" You know, now I'm a little bit of a veteran since it's my second year on the show. I'm like, "Y'all, everybody good? Everybody good? Cool. Let me ask y'all this." Close the door. Y'all got paid yet? They're like, well, not yet. You know, they said they're gonna do this. No. I said, okay, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna get on top of that for everybody. I got y'all. Like, cause it's weird because it's not the same as like working at like Lowe's where you know. Yeah, I can't be here without a check. Like this artsy shit, they be trying to act like it's not a job. Like
it's like, nigga, it's a whole HR and payroll department. Money.
It doesn't, because like if you're working at the Lowe's, you don't even doing it in the back room. You be at the cashier. Hey, y'all get paid yet? Like
exactly.
Like it's just like this week. Yeah, this job.
Like it's not like they be trying to make it seem like it's crashed to want to know where your money coming in. I'm like, that's not. I'm gonna be honest. That's the prerequisite. I'm not doing shit if I don't get paid.
Roger got the interview. He was like, "Oh yeah, so how much am I getting paid?" They was like, "You don't want to ask." I was like, "The money mattered because if the money wasn't right, I wouldn't make the trip."
They still bring that up to this day. But yeah, the first virtual interview I had, I was like, they said, "You got any questions?" I said, "Yeah. How much do it pay?" They're like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, the average writing job." I'm like, yeah, I just need to know before I say yes to anything that it's a number, because you know it's a number y'all can say that I'm not hopping on the plane, and it's a number y'all can say that I will. So you should probably take care. All this other shit we talked about don't really matter to me.
Because they're gonna try to hit you with we pay in something called exposure, and we have lots of exposure for you. How much exposure? Do you want 100 exposures? Do you want 2,000 exposures? Million exposures? We have all the exposures.
Did we tell you there's gonna be an opportunity to be on TV? I'm like, I've been on TV already.
Right. What did Fonte say? I got dreams, and dreams don't keep the lights on.
Keep the lights. It is. I don't know if it's a black, and it's the thing too. As a black man, this fucking country, it makes you feel like you should be happy to be in the room and grateful to be in the room. And it's like, I didn't win a sweepstakes to be here. Right. I have skills and I'm contributing to building this thing. Right. So don't try to act like I shouldn't be paid. Like, don't give me that.
Zach, this isn't a favor.
Right.
Yeah. You know? Because also if my shit is whack, y'all gonna fire me. So like, this is not a favor. This is a transactional relationship. I'm enjoying it. But it's a transactional relationship. Let's never forget that, because the second I stop being funny, I'm gone. And the second I stop getting a check, I'm gone. So we both know what this is.
Right. And so ain't no reason to pretend anything like that. And also, all jokes aside, the luxury of us owning our own business and knowing our own worth.
Yeah.
We can come in and not trying funny. We have the luxury, or Roger has the luxury of not putting up with no bullshit and being like, nah, dog, like what you're not gonna do is this.
Yeah, the good news is that means everything I did I wanted to do.
Right.
And so, I also am not like complaining about shit. Like if I'm there because I want to be at the shoot of a thing we're doing and I'm not going to get out until like 10 o'clock midnight or something, that I'm there because I want to be, as opposed to this like, motherfuckers making me have to come to this bullshit. I don't even want this. Like I'm like, cool. We made an agreement. Yeah. Everybody treat me good. I'm treating y'all good. Let's fucking go. So I definitely enjoyed it. The other thing I wanted to ask you too, Mike. Now that y'all doing Comedy Outliers, the show too, because it's not just a podcast, people. They also literally put on a comedy show, and you have to put the production hat on. You got to book comedians, venues, all that stuff. How is it getting back into that part of the game of like, the production and booking and, are the familiar headaches coming back, or is it different now that it's been a few years?
It's different. And I feel like I want to give like the vibey answer, but I also want to be super dishonest. You know what I mean? I want to give it like I'm on Outliers honest. I'm giving it like super funky, right? So the difference is when we started Outliers, social media was different. Not like the generation I was in, but it just felt different. Like I'm over a decade in the game, right? So when I first was doing it, I was just like, yo, come to the show. This is it. And what we were doing, I think, was like one of the only prestige shows and prestige comedy show hosted by and curated by two Black comedians that was focused on diversity and not in the way of their saying diversity. Like, it's like, we wanted to make sure we had some niggas up there. It was us, but we got some of y'all, we got everybody, but we making sure we good. Here's a spot. Here's where to come, right? And now doing it after the success that we've both seen, I do feel like there's a little bit of pressure on it now, and it's a different level of pressure, because before it was like, oh, we're just doing the show, come through, whatever, and now it's just like, it can't fail. We don't want it to fail because it's our show. We've done so much. We've put so much work into this. It has to work, and it's like that fighting that feeling is different. Also, everybody doing comedy now. I think my mama got like some fucking crowd work clips on Instagram now. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Why you on stage telling my business? This is not how this is supposed to work. Right. She out there like, follow me, y'all. I'm like, stop. Relax. So we're dealing with that. With Elon Musk taking over Twitter, right? The algorithm changed. Everything changed. So there was like when we were doing Decepticomics, which is also coming back July 31st.
Okay, breaking news.
I just real quick. See, that was on my vibe here, just by the way,
No shit.
That's what we do. We break news over here. Yeah, we break news.
Yeah, July is real big for comedy. You know what I mean? We hitting y'all over the head. Comedy Outliers, July 7th, 31st. We got Decepticomics. But when we started like Decepticomics and Comedy Outliers too, same thing. We would go on Twitter and share it, and that's where the community was. And it wasn't a thing of like, hey, we're trying to game the system to do all these things. It's like, yo, we got it. We just want the people who need to know. We're not trying to go over the head. And now it's like, okay, you have 10,000 followers, great, but only 100 people will see this post unless you pay.
Bullshit. And so it's very frustrating. And this is what happened when you have corporations actually take something like social media, something where things go viral and try to monetize it. Because now you want me to pay for shit that would just naturally flow and grow on its own. So you are literally stifling, like you're slowing down.
They want you to pay for the site to work.
Right.
It's like, as a gamer, it's like when microtransactions took over. Yeah. Like certain games know how to do it to where it's like, here's a microtransaction, but it's adding something to whatever the fuck you're playing. So it's like, oh, you want a different outfit or some shit? Like, cool. Oh, you want a dance emoji whenever you kill somebody or some shit? Cool. Yeah. But then there's some games where they like, would you like to dribble in NBA 2K? Well, that's gonna be an extra $3 because we didn't anticipate you want to actually dribble the ball as an NBA player. Oh, you want to shoot? Oh man, wow! I hate to tell you this, another $3, and that's what Twitter is now. It's like, you want people to see this shit? Oh yeah, that's gonna be $11 a month. I'm gonna need $11 a month.
When I tell you, I tried to get my blue check for years. Let me tell you, for years I was trying to get this check. I don't talk about this much because I sent in all my work. I met the requirements,
right,
and I was not
all the requirements,
all of them. And then I got on TV, and I was like, "All right, TBS, it's time. Let's get this blue check.
Let's go." Right.
They
still give me the check. Then we lose the show. Then 2 months later, hey y'all want a blue check for only $7.99? You too can have blue check. I said, fuck you, motherfuckers! I've been trying for years. I've met all the requirements. It's me. Right. It's me.
Right. And then it's like, and in addition to like you can pay for it, it means less now because of who owns it. Right. So it's like you can pay for it, but it also means like you are like Elon Musk punked you. Yeah, like it's like a sign that you're putting up like, yeah, man, Elon Musk humbled me. I had to give him the $8. It's like, fuck, man. Like nobody wants it that way.
Yeah, and everybody's coming like, hey, man, I had my blue check before, so if you still see it, it's not me. That's not who I am.
And then the people that had it, he took it away.
It was just
yeah. That was
stupid.
But you know, with my blue check, it was always the funniest to me, is because I got it for a joke that went viral. That they felt like I didn't ask for it or nothing. They just was like sent me an email like, so we're gonna give you a blue check because you said Bernie so black, and it went viral. It was a #1 trend on Twitter. I'm like, all right, cool. And then for the next however many years I had it, it only served to piss people off. Like it never, I never got the good, like, man, well, you verify, so I know you cool. It was a bunch of like, look at this old blue check, black French bitch ass niggas. I'm like, right. What? All I said was I think LeBron is the greatest. I mean, if I had a check that didn't have a check, wouldn't that be the same? Nah, nigga, you classist, rich black mother landlord ass billionaire. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You got that blue check now. You better than me now. That's what that means. That's what that means.
Who you think you are? Who you think you are?
Oh, so
my favorite people that be like,
you made Bernie black. It was you, Rob. It was you. People look at Killer Mike and they be like, why is he keep? But you started this Bernie so black stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know it'd be this powerful. To be honest.
No, I mean, it's powerful.
I got interviewed in magazines and shit. I was like,
the radio.
Every interview, I'm like, so I have a podcast and I make a lot of jokes, right? So this one was a joke, and they like, would you like to do outreach to the black community as an activist? No. I just. So what happened was I made a joke.
Yeah, and then Roger could be like, these are the people you need to talk to. And every interview was like, civil rights activist, social justice warrior,
Malcolm X's distant cousin. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
the future of black liberation.
Right. Right. It's also interesting though, because it taught me two things. One, you could see why certain people try to transition into activists and like from spaces where they really ain't, like, you really not an activist, but when all these white people are coming in telling you like, listen, what the joke you made, it was so powerful and it did. Would you like to do outreach for the Bernie Sanders campaign? I just happen to be the kind of nigga that's like, absolutely not. I would not do that.
I tell jokes.
But there are some people that are like, I would like to do that. And that's how they end up in those spaces. And that I just like my lane more than I like being in those spaces. So that taught me a lot.
I feel too, like with that, when you do kind of like get into those spaces, because like the entertainment industry space, and then it's like that activism space, I feel like that is like a different level, it feels like it feels grifty, because it's like, because I will admit this, during COVID, when during Black Lives Matter at the height, and I just saw how much money they were making, I was like, man, I never thought you could do this. As much as I know about Malcolm and Martin and Marcus Garvey, I never knew what their banks was like.
Right.
And I never had the feeling that they were like caking, right?
They never flexed on us. You know what I mean?
Even if they was making that type of money.
Like when the activists pull up on you, it feels different. It's like, I don't think you're supposed to be pulling up on nobody. Like you're not supposed to be hopping out no car. Like it feels different to know this side of you.
like everybody marching and you on the avenue over, just cruising. I'm with y'all, just cruising.
Yeah,
right down playing their music.
Black Lives Matter. Excuse me. Let me get through though. Black Lives Matter though.
Yeah. Some of us march, some of us glide, and just walk. Holding my fist up as I turn the wheel.
Yes,
fuck with me.
Bro, I see
Black power, black horsepower. You know what I'm saying? I'm driving something nice.
I can't remember which activist it was, but one of them really did have like a car commercial at one point.
Yeah, so people got highly upset.
It was so funny at her for that shit, but I was laughing because I was like, man, this is what it seemed like it is on the outside.
Get that money.
Different.
I ain't mad at you.
Oh, man. Things I love more than anything is being black and my Buick. Hi, I'm Mike Brown.
You can't spell BLM without Buick. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, that was like, if your uncle owned a Cadillac just like me, come on down to the bar. You like, sir.
When I'm pulling up to where the latest black person got killed by the police, I gotta do it in style. It's me and Jay Ellis from Insecure. We telling you, Black Lives Matter in luxury.
I do. Yeah. I love seeing Jay Ellis and all these commercials now because I'm like, for us, it's like, okay, go ahead, right? But I'm like, for white people, are they just like, who is this guy? Like, I just wonder if you haven't watched Insecure, are you just like, who is this guy? Just keeps popping up. Who is he? And I'm like, so that's Steve Lawrence. We all like, hey, that's Jay Ellis, that's Lawrence, he sings, and just white people are like, who is this handsome? What is going on right now? I just don't.
Yes. And I'm confused. Every time I see him, I want to be like, where is Issa? Where? Like, I ask that every single time. It's like a running joke with me.
Yeah.
I always see him and be like, you going to see Issa and the baby.
Yeah. I am kind of waiting on Issa Rae to show up in one of these ads.
Yes, in the background.
And get in the car with him and be like, oh, that's how it ended. You know?
Yeah. we need a movie. We need something. Well, I think that's how it's going to go. Listen, depending on how this writer strike goes, you might start getting a lot of collaborated content where each commercial is going to be, oh, now some reason Lawrence is down on his luck and he drives an Uber now, but his Uber is a Buick. And guess who's his first passenger? Oh, is that Issa and Molly? They're off on another adventure.
Oh, man. So, can you tell everybody where to get tickets and like the new show that's coming up on the 7th, I believe? And the venue and all that type of stuff too.
So Comedy Outliers comes back July 7th. That is Friday at 10 o'clock in Brooklyn. We're doing doors at 9:30. You can get your tickets at yomikebrown.com. You can follow me at yomikebrown. Also, you can go to americancollins.com to get some tickets. You could go to unionhallny.com to get some tickets. But you should come through. It's going to be a great vibe, a great show, and we are just focused on just bringing the vibes back, you know, just like real going to the show, laughing at some jokes and just feeling, have that energy come out. That's what we're trying to do, because I feel like there's not spaces to do it, and you can't do it on Instagram. You can't just watch the thing on Instagram. You got to go and feel that energy and be a part of it. So come, everybody's welcome.
How about the Decepticomics? You said they had a date for that too?
Yeah, we have a date for Decepticomics. That's going to be July 31st. That's going to be in Brooklyn at Old Man Hustle. It's going to be me, Gordon Baker Bone, Dylan Stevenson, John Minus, and Jerome Russell. The whole gang is back. It's going to be dope as hell. And I know y'all been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it for the right time. It felt right. So we're coming back for y'all. And y'all can get tickets at yomikebrown.com. And definitely go follow Baker Bone at Baker Bone, because he has like all that stuff too. So. Come to me. Come to my brand. Come my brand. What am I doing? I'm being too nice. Hold on. Let me turn.
Oh, the other thing too is I have to say this as a fan of the show. Don't forget to put Comedy Outliers on Spotify too, because I know y'all have it on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
But if y'all get a chance, put it on Spotify too, because I know there's a lot of listeners over there that will add it to, and you'll get even more listens. So just heads up to everybody, because I know some of y'all are like, I got to change apps. You know, I know some people like to live in the Spotify world. I hear y'all. I'm not complaining. But so throw it on there for my Spotify peeps too.
Yeah, I see in the chat. Right. I see the please put it on, please. Yeah. I'll hit you up after this. Like, just walk me through. You know, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
There's Spotify.
Yes. Yeah. I'll shoot you an email with the instructions. I got you, brother.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been out the game for a while.
Yeah. I'm back. How much am I getting paid? Like, I'm just sticking up the whole industry. I just come back, guns raised. I got one question. How much am
y'all don't want to hang with old Mike Brown? Huh?
My day,
all right, let's.
I'm done.
We did it for exposure. We was happy. All right, let's get into some news stuff. Okay, I want to talk to you about some current events.
Okay.
But of course, first we gotta play some music so that I know where to add commercials in later. So let me play some transition music for about 30 seconds, and then we'll come right back. All right, news. Talk about it. Travis Scott will not face criminal charges following Astroworld tragedy. And I just gotta say, I told you so.
Right.
I told you niggas when it happened. I gave you prophecy. I was just asking some questions. The wave online was this nigga was going down for capital murder. And I was like, that don't really seem feasible or like it makes sense.
Right. He does not run the fucking venue.
Like, seem like it would not really be his fault. Because there's people that's supposed to do security and shit.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Their job.
It's like also precedent. Like, he's an artist on stage while this is happening. You're doing it because you're looking at Travis Scott, you see in the vibe, and you're like, oh, this person is a menace. If there's a Taylor Swift show and something like that would happen, it would never be, well, you know, Taylor going to jail. This is it for Taylor. You wouldn't even think it. It wouldn't even come out.
You wouldn't even think it. Yeah. There's so many rock and roll shows where like shit happens and nobody's like, well, you know what? Guns N' Roses, they killed them people, but man, this shit was on Twitter. I remember that like 2 weeks of like
makes sense,
just like they were just, it was like conspiracy thing. Like he saw them dying and he said, kill them people. I'm like, I don't think that's what happened
at all. And they were like, and he kept performing. He didn't know.
Right. I'm like, what's more likely? He didn't know what happened, or he was like, yes, finally. Yeah. Travis Scott has killed many people.
And not trying to flex, but I'm looking like, have you ever been on the stage and looked out at people? Like when you're looking at a sea of people, you can't see everything that happens. I go, oh, you've never been on stage before.
Also, they were pulling up like, well, there was this one time Lizzo was performing and a person was falling and she stopped the show and said, hey, help that person up or whatever. I'm like, okay, but that's not necessarily the same thing. But then also clips start coming out eventually of like Travis Scott doing that. So I'm like, so it sounds like he that's evidence he wouldn't have wanted these people to die. It's like, I don't know that any of this is helping your case.
Right.
None of it.
I think that's the internet.
It's the internet. And I don't know if it's a thing too where it's like, all right, is it just like because he was with one of the Kardashians? Is that the issue? Like, why, where is all that coming from? Is it just because he a black man that's successful? Is it because it's rap? Is it like, why?
All of that, baby.
It's probably, like I remember making it a poll question at the time because I was like, it was so irrational to me. This is why, I question so much shit with social media. It's like, because if you just went by social media, the reality was this man is a murderer that is going to prison.
Right.
For crime. Not civil case. Like this nigga going to jail, say goodbye to Travis Scott. And I just remember being like, that makes no sense. And I feel alone in saying that makes no sense because it's very unpopular to say that on social media, to be like, I don't think he's going to jail, everybody. Like, fuck you, nigga, you should go to jail. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me go to the podcast. And I made it the poll at the time, like, yo, do y'all think he's going to jail? And the vast majority of people were like, no. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I still live in reality, because a year later, when this shit goes to trial, cooler heads have prevailed. The grand jury came back and said no crime occurred and no single individual was criminally responsible.
Yeah.
That seemed cut and dry. That's 18 months ago, but now everybody's calmed down and they're not just replaying that footage over and over.
And they're thinking from like a place of emotion. That's all emotion. It's like you kind of just want that thing to happen. It's like, no, it's like, yo, if we want to play the law game, and also the law don't really work for us all the way. So there's that. But it's also like, if we're going to play the law game, he's not responsible. He didn't say, all right, everybody, this is where you trample. He didn't cause the riot.
People are getting trampled at the gates. He can't even see the gates from the stage. They're like, it's his fault somehow. He knew. I'm like, all right, calm down.
Like, come on. It's whatever. And so you couldn't share that. If you share it on Twitter, everybody comes at you for it, right? It's a good opinion, the real opinion. Now I'm going to jump out the window. Okay, let me fly. I have so many Jonathan Majors thoughts that I have now. I just step away from Twitter because I'm like, this is, if I'm gonna be honest about it, the story that both sides are telling, there's a lot that we don't know, right? It's also interesting to me that before this happened, he was like the sexy black guy in the industry, redefining masculinity. And it's like, okay, we're posturing him here. Then this thing happens, and it's like, no, we were wrong. It was like, no, y'all was just rocking with it. Like, yourself, are you censored enough to be like
immediate? He went to immediate monster. I think so this is my theory with the Jonathan Majors shit. Having read the Rolling Stone piece and having read that Business Insider piece, I think it was. That
the Business Insider.
The Business Insider piece really just took like his defense lawyer's case and just wrote it as an article. Which is fine. Like, this shit is public opinion, so to me that doesn't bother me the way that it seemed to bother other people. Like, how dare they put out? I was like, because his side hadn't had a side until it was their turn in court to say their side. And then people were saying like, why didn't they say that before? I was like, probably because the optics of a man saying this about a victim, alleged victim, y'all wouldn't have taken it as, oh, he's just putting his side out legally. You would have said, look at him doing Darvo, attacking a victim, trying to destroy this woman, putting her name in public. So it's almost like you have to wait till you have a court date to even say that kind of shit, because people don't take it as like, oh, he's just telling his side. But the thing I will say is this, to me, and this is complete speculation outside, it seemed kind of like both things could be true of terrible in the industry. People now don't like working with him, or he's been abusive to people emotionally in relationships or whatever. Like, all of that could be true. And everything that happened, if they have the evidence they say they have, we'll see in court. But if they have the evidence they say they have, it could also be true that this woman was not hit and she did break in his house and fucking try to kill herself and all this stuff. All of that could be true as well. It's up to you to decide how you feel about that shit. But to me, I haven't seen it doesn't feel like it's conflicting information to me that they're like, he has an industry rep and a personal rep of being like this. And on that night, he still could have not been like that to that woman.
Exactly. Like, hey, he can be an asshole, and that's not against the law. Like, and so you can't paint that character picture of this man and be like, just because people have said this. And also, when it first dropped and everybody was on Twitter like, oh, I went to school with him. I'm like, who are these niggas? Like, I don't know them.
I always feel weird about that too, because like, it doesn't feel like you're the hero of the story to be like, we all knew he was an abusive asshole killer motherfucker. And I'm like, wait, y'all all knew? Y'all didn't say shit? It feel weird that y'all wouldn't have said shit, because I'm gonna be honest, if this nigga was a piece of shit and he was having a meteoric rise, I'd probably be on Twitter like, damn, that's wild, because Buddy used to like beat me up behind the lockers. Like, you know,
for real.
Like, this ain't high school, man. You grown. You can say what you want to say. What the fuck he gonna do?
He ain't gonna do nothing. And you see him out here wearing dresses. He's chilling.
Yeah,
He's the let you talk. Say what you gotta say.
It feels weird. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying it feels like it don't feel heroic the way they were trying. They were trying to make it seem like, listen, I'm gonna give you the real. Now that we can finally say it, you know, the brother wouldn't speak to me in class. I'm like, why didn't you? That was not okay. You could have said that a week ago.
It has nothing to do with the story. They're talking about maybe hitting a woman, all this stuff, and you're like, well, yeah, you know what? And me, he never said hi. Every time I see him, he's like, you can't speak. Every time you can speak.
people start adding shit in that really ain't the same. It's like if a motherfucker gets accused of beating a woman, but then your shit is like he wouldn't share his fries. I'm like, now see, that's not the same, and you know it's not the same. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think it adds to your credibility if you were saying the shit before.
Yeah.
Like I don't fuck with that dude, and I never will. I feel like that adds even if you're not being specific, it adds a layer of credibility where I'm like, well, they did say in 2018 they don't like that nigga.
They've been like this for years.
This thing where it's like, now that nobody likes him. Let me tell you, I really don't like him. I never liked him. Like, sure you didn't, buddy.
Sure you didn't, yeah. But like, and this is the other thing too, like how the biggest problem that Jonathan Majors has right now is his defense lawyer. Mm-hmm. She's like, the way that this is being slow dripped, he's losing it. Like, did y'all see when they sent out the text that she supposedly sent? They were like, we have the smoking gun. And it is a text that she sent to him the night saying that he didn't do anything. And then you read the text, it sounds like she got a gun pointed to her head. I'm sorry. I'm writing this of my own cognizance. And you're like, no one literally writes that in a text.
Right. like, why would you share that?
Why?
It's like as a Star Wars fan, hear me out. As a Star Wars fan, George Lucas, I used to always feel like, why did you write that in the movie when there's so much more interesting stuff happening in your universe, but you want us to go to like a Senate meeting? It's like, so you wrote a Senate meeting scene, but you didn't write the scene where like General Grievous fought Mace Windu. You let that be in a cartoon, but the part where the Senate meeting happened, you like the world need to see this.
Yeah, this needs to be live action.
Yeah, that's how it feels with Jonathan Majors' lawyer, where it's like, well, it seemed like the thing that was important would be that the witnesses said that this didn't happen, and that the dude that was driving the car is telling everybody that's not what happened. He didn't touch her. That seemed more important than she sent this text message. It sounds like a hostage letter. Like, well, that makes it look worse.
I feel like she's the one who was like, all right, I know it can fix. Like the situation just keeps getting worse. And one time she's like, all right, I know what we can do. Call Megan Good. You just date her, all this will go away. And then you see them two together, and you're like, where did this come from? What is happening? Why are you with Megan Good now? Like I'm rooting for Jonathan Majors. I'm really rooting for him because I do feel it's like I don't know the facts. I think both things can be true. I'm not saying he's a great person. I think that from the story, it sounds like it kind of reminds me of the Aziz Ansari situation when it was like, he did this to me. And I was like, it sounds like y'all had a date and he tried to holler and he was like, nah, and you bounced. I
think Aziz was an interesting one because I thought that was probably the best place to have a conversation,
quote unquote, gray area
about like during the Me Too movement. But I think, there's a part of people that gets charged up and taking folks down too. So it was like, should we have a conversation? Should we try to take this nigga down just to see our power? If we can do it, because I think it became like a challenge at some point of like, hey, this person isn't perfect, take them down. Jonathan Majors thing. So this is the part where I feel like so agnostic about celebrity in general. Mm-hmm. I'm not rooting for or against that dude. And even when he was doing the like wearing anime clothes and taking photo shoots and being, it never like. You can go check my timeline. You can check our podcast. You've never heard me be like, yes, it's just good to see a black man wearing a blouse by a pool. Like none of that matters to me because I don't feel like I be knowing these people.
Right.
I feel I feel like they're just talented strangers who may or may not. Like I don't feel like a loss when they do something bad. I don't feel a win when they do something good. So I feel like that has never. I never got caught up, so I haven't lost anything in that way. But I think when you listen to a lot of people and the way they talk about it, it feels like they don't want to lose something on either side. I don't want to lose who just got represented. To me, as a black dude, like I have a friend who is like very much into like Jonathan Majors innocent like type of camp, and I'm just like, what is it about him that made you feel like you gotta like defend him? Because I don't feel the attachment in that way to pretty much any celebrity. I think I would have to know a celebrity personally in my real life before I felt an attachment to like their reputation. Because but also I'm very much I don't feel like because I liked you in a movie, I gotta become like a fan of like this. Like I'm like Tom Cruise is the greatest at movies and a terrible father. Why did I give a fuck?
Both of those things at the same time, and also I'm gonna say we aren't really stands, and we live in a generation of standom and fandom, and they collide and they crash and they kind of go down the same street. And a lot of people, it's sad, but a lot of people have put their personality and tied it up into fandom and standom.
Yeah.
And so when a celebrity does something who you don't know, you're not associated with, all of a sudden it feels like a personal attack on you because in your mind you've tied these things
together. Some of the scorn that he's experiencing is specifically because people feel betrayed because they were using him as a cudgel to bash other men and especially bash other black men. Because it was like a lot of like, why can't y'all be like him? And so the second that he fucks up, everybody's like, so you throwing him in the bushes? Because you told us that, like, you told us to be like him. It's like there and the way and the quickness to which you throw the dude in the bushes make people feel like, well, which part was fake? Was the love fake? Is the hate fake right now? Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of the conflict is coming up for people online. But like I said, I don't participate in any of this. So it's been more like a interesting case study to me to be like, oh, okay. Like I remember talking to Keith Malley, and he was talking. He knows I'm a Marvel person. He knows, I love black people. All this. Yeah. And so I've shared the articles about for and against Jonathan Majors, but I've never left a comment. I've never.
You just like share it.
Share it. I read what y'all say, and then I go back to my life because I'm like once again not invested. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you shared that article where his defense lawyer did this. So I'm, and he was like implying like, so you kind of want him to be innocent." And I was like, if you've noticed, I also shared the other articles, and I haven't ever said shit about it because I really don't know this nigga, and I don't even care to pretend like I know this dude because it feels fake to me to think I know him, and especially with him being an actor, it feels fake to me because if you're good at acting, Nick, that's the job.
That's the job, Pete. He's really good.
As Angela Bassett said, that's the job.
I saw an article where someone was like, I've been rooting for him since he was in Last Black Man in San Francisco. I'm like, yeah, but that you never knew him. That's a role that he played. Right. You know what I mean? It's like saying, I've been rooting for that brother that make my sandwich at McDonald's ever since the day he made the first Big Mac. I'm like, right, but you don't know him when he clock out. You just know him from McDonald's. I think it's okay to not have that parasocial attachment.
Right.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, even healthy, because then I don't root for outcomes as much as I'm just like, I hope the truth gets out there, which
that's all I want.
It almost never does, but we'll see in a court of law what he's able to prove or disprove. And public opinion, I don't know how you disprove that because that's a whisper campaign, and we can make arguments for and against that whisper campaign. Like there's gonna be, especially coming from elite Ivy League white institutions, there's gonna be people that didn't like this nigga. There's gonna be some people that maybe he is that asshole. There's gonna be people that conflate like shit like him being a dick on the set with he must have choked this woman. I'm gonna let everybody else figure that shit out. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think for me, like I look at him like being in the industry, and I just see someone in the industry. So I'm like, okay, I see a black man in the industry. So it's just like
from that to that, like boom,
so quick, and I'm just like, as I don't know. It's like, yo, I don't know him, whatever. I'm just like, yo, bro, I hope you all right with this. Like, I'm not losing sleep over it.
Right.
But sometimes it goes around just like, man, this is a
really I will say this though. I think in every case of whatever this shit, like whatever these accusations are, not just for him, but for anyone, the best case scenario for everybody would be that a person was lying, because then it would mean nobody was actually like harmed, and that someone, like, it sucks obviously for the person that got accused, but like, sure, if you had to pick in every single case, what would you prefer to happen? I'd say the vast majority of people would be like, I would prefer that the motherfucker didn't do it and somebody lied on him, and then we can all debate about like, why did they lie on him, but it feels better to say this didn't happen than to say it did happen, and now I got to figure out how I feel about that. I think that's what people, don't want to really have that conversation.
Yeah,
so
because it's a mixed bag and a mixed feelings of emotions.
Yeah, I think, but when you start with I don't want it to happen, it's easier for you to like cherry pick the shit, right? So it's like, I don't want to believe that this happened. So then it's like all the evidence to the contrary is like, I don't believe that shit. And and it makes it harder for obviously people that are accusing somebody in an environment where people are like, I like this person, so I don't want to believe it happens. And I think after Me Too, we had like I don't want to say somewhat of an overcorrection to where even the accusation means you did it.
Right.
Because we don't really have a apparatus in public opinion. It's not like a court of law where we can like hold out, wait, present the evidence, hear both sides, arrive at some nebulous conclusion. Like public opinion is very much you did it or you didn't do it.
Right.
And we want it right away. We don't want to wait. And so I think that's why people get caught up in the like, we have to have a take right now. We still haven't really done a Jonathan Majors breakdown or anything on this show, because I've been like, every week new shit pop up, and I'm like, all right, well, shit, that's what they're saying this week. Let's see what the opposite is.
I gotta see the trial. I gotta see it, because, and this is the other weird part about things now with the writer strike happening, and like there's no like entertainment or like content that you might want to watch. It's like you start focusing on like, okay, what's the news? Like, what are the stories? And then stepping out and being like, you saw like last week there was like a lot of submarine news, and it felt like that was just being hit at you. And I think for us, a lot of Black people were just like, I don't care. Like,
like,
and it's not like,
we were making jokes. We were making jokes.
Like, bro, I do not give a fuck. But if that's the only story you're giving me, then it's like, yo, I don't want to watch the news. So now when I hear a story, it's like, oh, certain things I'll pick on. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Supreme Court stuff, like, okay, cool. But y'all could have been saying that this was being seen this much ago. Like, you know what I mean? You didn't have to just start talking about like, hey, they made a decision. Like, when they start having a decision about this? We would have watched about that.
Right. I think it's
like, what are y'all
I think it's interesting too, because voting and is one thing we really do have the ability to affect. Like, every individual has the ability, if depending on your situation in your state, but most of us we could take personal responsibility and go vote, right? And we could actually see change in the world from our votes. It takes a while, but you would, depending on who's in power, you see certain things that happen, right?
There's gonna be change. It might not be the change you want.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be change. Gonna be change.
Well, listen, there's one side that believes in voting, and there's one side that likes to debate about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm tired of being on the side that likes to debate about it, to be honest with y'all.
I just vote. I'm now just like, here you go.
Right. And the thing that's so fucked up about it, and the reason why I dismiss a lot of people when it comes to the apathy and all that shit, you have people that has oxygen masks straight from their deathbed going and like, bitch, if this is the last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull this motherfucking trigger. Lever, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You have all your bodily functions. You have the right to vote. You're not suppressed or none of this shit. But you rather go do something else. Somebody that's like, if once I pull this lever, I'm gonna die. But yet you have people, and that's the thing. It's like, you fail to realize this. They will die and say, I'm gonna leave it to the next generation. We will die and then debate about the next generation.
Yeah.
Those things are fucking not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. The thing for me is with the voting shit is like, in 2016 we could see this could possibly be one of the results of not voting, of people feeling apathetic and all that stuff, right? I mean, there's a motherfucking Hillary tweet clip for everything that be like, these niggas gonna get up to do all the judges and they gonna take away our rights, and everybody's like, shut up, bitch. And now we're like, wow, why didn't
why did no one tell us? No one told us. If we only knew. It's just like
right. If we only knew, they was like, bitch, we just got married. Gay rights got here. We made it. Fuck y'all. And everybody went back to their lives.
So my theory is that we treat celebrities like politicians, and we treat politicians like celebrities at this point. Yeah. Because that's how people feel so like ineffective. And that's why we expect like a Jonathan Majors to have like a great personal life, great opinions. And it's not just him, it's every celebrity. We expect them to conduct themselves as if they are always focus grouping all of us and trying to be liked by the most people possible at all times, saying the right thing every time. They should have like a speech writer. Every time a celebrity fucks up and they make an apology, what do people say? Well, why did they hire a PR person to write this apology? Because we treat them like with the responsibility that we should be treating the politician with. And then the politicians, it's like politicians should become like stand culture, where it's like, AOC, that's my team, as opposed to being like, well, what policy did this person pass? What's their stance on this issue? It's so I think we've somehow kind of lost that. And I think that's why we apply such energy in the opposite directions towards the things. Like the thing you shouldn't be apathetic about is voting or holding the politician accountable. You shouldn't be apathetic about that. You should be apathetic about whether you like Aquafina or not. Like, you should be. It's like, that don't really matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And y'all, not trying funny, it makes me think I'm crazy. When people bring stuff up, I was like, this nigga don't vote. This nigga not on Senate. He not your fucking dog catcher. He not your goddamn mayor. Why are you holding this person accountable for some shit that, regardless of how they vote, will not impact your life? I feel crazy because when you bring that up, people make you sound like you a lunatic when you say these niggas are politicians.
They don't. I just think it's just a really, I don't know how it happened. Well, I feel I know how it happens, and this is why I think sometimes I'm like, yo, I might be losing it, because like I see it, and I think we all see like these different games where you're like, all right, you see, I did drink a little bit of the Obama juice when he was in office.
I drank a lot of it. I still.
Oh, it was great. It was delicious. It was delicious. I was like,
I got some in the refrigerator right now.
I see the nigga now. I'll be like, God damn, I missed that juice,
man. Oh, and now, and now you start looking at it where it's just like, all right, the people in power are not doing anything to make the country run in a way that feels efficient. That's the best way I can put it. They're not doing it in a way that it feels efficient. Like, we should be able to have the country on airplane mode where things are just rocking. And there might be a few things where like, I don't like this, let's change that. But there shouldn't be like general sweeping things where it's like, some people in the country hate this or do not like it. And no one's doing anything about it. We'll tweet about it. We're not, whatever. Right. And then on the other side, it's like when we talk about like Travis Scott, I remember when he did his apology video, right? And people were like getting at his apology video. It didn't seem sincere enough. It didn't.
I remember that, like,
it doesn't need to be. He is he don't.
Right.
You're lucky he's apologizing. He don't even need to talk. Remember Michael Jackson? You never saw this motherfucker. You barely saw his kids. He don't gotta come out. He has no responsibility to us other than to just entertain and get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Politicians are the people who are supposed to try to be liked all the fucking
time. I just want to take
job.
I want to take what you said one step further though, because I think the lack of specificity benefits Republicans here. Mm-hmm. Republicans are not interested in governing. And they're fucking us up. Like, things that we voted for and won are being taken away. Like, this is crazy. Like, there's one party that said women had a right to abortion. There's one party that tried to get your student loans forgiven. Okay, there's one party behind affirmative action. This ain't no two people shit. Like,
Yeah.
These motherfuckers are fucking us up, and it's because our side likes to be like the, well, listen, what is voting anyway? Like, nigga, they don't think like that. They just do it and fuck us up and be like, and they don't care that you sitting at home going, that's not fair. They don't care. They're gonna do it again right the fuck now. So, like, we need to keep that same energy of defending our shit, because I do think they're relying on us. Like, I remember there's a clip of Charlemagne that was going around where he was like, he'll never say anything positive about Democrats because he doesn't want to look like he's giving them like he's like a shield or giving them too much credit. And I'm like, what does that mean though? Because think, whose hands does that play into when you do that? You know what I mean? Like, and how do you feel? Why does that mean it's fair to you? Why does that feel fair to you? Is if a nigga do good, I will not acknowledge it. Because that's what fairness is. That's not fair, you know?
No, it's not. And I think the thing that really, really frustrates me when I kind of look at the landscape and look at how it goes, I look at this very, very simply. And because I look at it this way, I will always be mad. I will always be angry. And I will always hold other people accountable because they think I'm a lunatic. I tell people the goal is slavery, okay? And when I say that, it's simple to me. All this shit they're doing is to get back to slavery. Now, will they reach that goal? Don't know. But that's the foundation of the goal. Let me tell you why. When people don't have money, they can't feed their kids. When they can't feed their kids, they get desperate, which means they take any goddamn job you give them. It's all like all this shit is connected.
Oh, that's really deep.
All fucking connected. And when I say slavery, I'm not just talking about black people. Slavery. Keep you enslaved in debt. Keep you enslaved in your job. Keep you enslaved because you know what? If you're trying to just get basic needs, guess what you don't have time to do? March and protest. Guess what you don't have time to do? Be out in the streets. You don't have the time to do it because you're just trying to fucking survive. That's all you're trying to do. And the thing is, it's sweeping across the board. And this is why I got mad from the very beginning when the LGBT rights and all this shit was coming up. I was like, okay, I'm glad y'all got y'all right to be married, but bitch, it don't stop there. You need to keep going. Everybody was like, yeah, we married. They want to rah, 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 throw glitter in the air, and they fucking went home. They went home. And that's the shit that pisses me off because in this LGBT, in that group, there are different levels. That group, and just because one letter, quote unquote, got there right, it doesn't mean the whole group got there right. You know, if we all ain't free, nobody's free, and that's what people don't understand. And that's why I say people died for me to have the right to vote. You go sit here, people. But like this, you can go. They got letters. You got people that got taped. People actually said, nigga, I'm going out here. I will die today. I came packing so I can go downstairs and me and Mr. Barbara, I'm going to shoot his ass to take my black ass in at a vote. And how dare you go look me in my motherfucking eye and tell me voting don't matter and voting don't count? How dare you look me in my motherfucking eye and tell me that?
It is so insane because the part of voting is one of like the fundamental blocks of what we saw as freedom. The entire fight was coming from slavery and fighting for freedom. So you have the experience of, I'm enslaved and I don't have my freedoms. Now I'm free. And now I want these things that you have to do to run the country. You got to vote. We need that. We need to, you need a college education. And there's these barriers. Well, I need that for freedom's sake. And that's what it's about. So like because even like I've always joking was like, they're just gonna bring back slavery. And I was just always joking about it. Always joke. But it's like, oh, but they can't do that. But the reality is it's like, no, they are trying to take away freedoms. And then when you realize that you don't have your freedom, then you gotta start moving.
Yeah, I think it's one party is so dedicated to hyper-capitalism, and that hyper-capitalism always needs that underclass. And when you're looking at a country that was founded and the head start that they had was, we have people who have no rights that have to work for free. It's a hell of a drug, and it's like every step we're trying to get back there. Whether it's like the stuff with immigration and not paying people that are immigrants, that's trying to get back there. Whether it's keeping people from being college educated so they have to take certain jobs, that's whether it's keeping people from learning the history of the country so that they won't push back too far on stuff. It's all that we need an underclass constantly. That's what I've always taken when Karen would say like they want us to go back to slavery, I always took it as that, because I think people hear that and they probably imagine like niggas in like outside people. And I'm like, nah, I think like what slavery looks like now to me is states like Kentucky or Indiana, one of those states, passing laws where children can work. Like that's a thing that we supposedly stopped in the Industrial Revolution. And we're going back to that, because to me, that's a step closer to like, you might as well be a fucking slave. If you are going to a warehouse and you're bringing a 13-year-old with you, let me tell you something. That 13-year-old probably not doing too well in school. That 13-year-old probably don't have a bright future. That 13-year-old probably not going to have access to generational wealth or even the ability to build it. They're just going to be working in a fucking factory until they die one day. And if that's the goal of half of our country, or at least half of the elected people in our country, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. Okay. So y'all watch Marvel's Secret Invasion? Y'all watch that?
Yeah, I've been watching it.
So when I watched the show, I think it's low-key the blackest show on television, because I feel like as Black people, we're like, yo, we are here for a home, and you promised us that we get our freedom. And then there's some of us who are like, yo, are we ready to turn up? Not everybody. There's a community who's living, chilling. And then there's some of us who are willing to turn up, who want to turn up and see what's going on. It's like, how do you get this information? How do you get this information out to get people involved to do something? And it's like, what is that? Because for me at this point, I wasn't able to like articulate before, it's so much anger. And it's like justified anger. It's not anger in the sense of like, why are you angry? Don't be an angry Black man. And it's like, nah, this anger is justified.
Right. It's not coming out of nowhere.
It's not coming out of nowhere. And everything else that's happening around you is exacerbating this anger.
Right.
And this anger that I have is not unique to me in my way. It's like, if you have your answer, if you know your history, if you know the history of our people in this country, you have a feeling of like, yo, this is messed up. And this shouldn't be like this.
And I think to bring it kind of full circle, I think that's why we end up with so much of the anger towards the celebrities and stuff. Because we just have it in other areas where we actually are empowered, but we're not using that power. We're more apathetic. We're more, likely to be like, it just is how it is. Man, that's fucked up. Or, let's Joe Biden fix it, whatever thing that requires us to do nothing but like put out a tweet, But then in these other areas where like a celebrity is involved, like motherfuckers will like dox them and harass somebody, get them fired. Like they'll put so much energy into seeing the world change that way, and so little energy into like the shit that really could matter. Because I'll never forget or be able to forgive the apathy of 2016, because to me all of this comes back to that moment of us knowing better and choosing not to do better. And now the chickens are coming home to roost when you're losing affirmative action in colleges, when you're losing the right for a woman to have a choice in whether or not she gives birth, or when you're losing student loan forgiveness. And gay people are now losing the right to be serviced in the through a fake case, by the way, but losing the right to get like a website,
which is the most white woman thing I've ever seen happen. She went to the Supreme Court on a belief.
On a fake case. Did a gay person ask you to do this? No, not really. Well, then why the fuck are you in the Supreme Court about it? Because what if they did though? Like what? What in the Supreme? I don't think the Supreme Court should be judging on. But what if it had happened? That's not how that works.
It's usually what had happened was, but it's like what could happen is.
Imagine if Plessy versus Ferguson was on some like what if shit. Like they would never take no black case. They would take 0 black cases about racism on some what if. They be like, nigga, come back when it happens.
Right. And also while we on this topic, this is how I look at it. I felt like I was at a table eating one of my best meals, fried chicken, macaroni, greens, just eating all my food. And all of a sudden, the Republicans came in going, you living too good, you eating too much food, and they come in and they just smack all my food off the table.
Yep.
It was like, bitch, crumbs. I have the right to get mad and say, motherfucker, what you not gonna do is bring your ass up in here and turn my goddamn table over. That's the anger that people should have had. But instead they go, well, I guess they eat crumbs. Bitch, why I got to about your ass in here, turn my table over, and then tell me what I'm supposed to deal with? And it's frustrating. And also, I also want to say, it's sad that we are in a generation. A lot of people fail to realize, just like you got old people, them old pictures that you see with the white people being angry in the background, or somebody, grandma, pop, them people still alive. You know who also still alive? Those black children that went to those schools. So you have generations of people who are sitting here who actually was alive before civil rights, lived long enough to watch civil rights go away. You have a generation of people here that were alive before, and now they can't get abortions. So this is a complete smack in the face to a lot of these people who are literally some of the foundational people who fought for a lot of these rights. To see it taken away from them is very insulting. And also, I also want to talk about the HBCU. I'm bringing up HBCUs because it's very insulting. People should have the right to go to any school they want to go to. People do not realize the impact that's getting ready to happen. A lot of the people, even the people that bought the lawsuits up, I'm going to tell you right now, most people were not going to get into these elite schools. All they were saying is, we got to pick a handful. That's all they were saying. And you're not guaranteed that once we pick you, you're going to make it. It's just to get to the front door. Okay? That's all they're saying.
Yeah.
You still have to work once you get there.
It is
insulting for all the black and brown people that have went through a lot of racism, a lot of you just hear blah, 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 went through a lot of hell to get these fucking doctorate degrees, to get these masters, and all this shit for you to turn around and now you shut the door on a whole generation that will not be able to get degrees in these schools. And also, it's very frustrating. And this is just me, because since we're talking about, let's talk about it. It's frustrating for me because regardless of which school you go to, HBCU or PWI, you have people that get in these fucking pointless, stupid-ass debates. A degree is a degree. But you have a percentage of people who feel like the white man's ice is colder. And so, they go to these PWIs and then they want to shit on everybody else because they feel like their degrees is higher. But bitch, you ain't going to be able to get in the door either. So where are you going to go? Yeah. Guess what? You're going to have to go back home to some of these HBCUs that you cut your nose up and on. Yep. Like, and that's the thing. And it's a trick because what's going to happen is now HBCU's attendance is going to go up. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to fucking defund them. That's the trick. They're going to defund them. Hold up.
Possibly. Possibly, the thing with the HBCU thing now. It's if you're not allowed to consider race-based admission stuff, I don't think you're just gonna see like black people going to HBCUs. You're gonna see white people applying to them shits that already go to
happening like that now.
And I don't think I don't think this administration you're gonna see a defunding of those HBCUs. I think you might see that in the Republican administration
in the states. I mean, like individual states will start doing shit within their little systems. You know how they have their little systems. They'll start making rules, regulations in their own little systems. Because you got federal government. No, federal government not gonna chop away money.
Well, we're mostly talking about federal funding, right? Like, so when we talk about like the HBCU funding, that's mostly a federal thing. I think the problem for a lot of this stuff though is that a HBCU can't necessarily contain infinite capacity.
No.
So even if attendance went up at a HBCU, it doesn't necessarily mean like we're in the money or whatever. Like it's just like they've been barely getting by in general. They've been relying on federal funding heavily anyway. Many of them are private institutions, not necessarily state institutions in the first place.
Correct.
But what I don't know, the answer I don't know, and I guess we're gonna find out. What the fuck does a HBCU look like that can't consider racial, like admit like
you're HCU? You're just a historic college or university.
Like that's what I like. That's the question I've been everyone's speculating on. Yeah, I'm like, are we gonna just go? It's gonna be like 90% white people now. Like, what? Yeah. How the fuck do you have an HBCU?
You're not gonna have real HU debates anymore. No one's gonna like. No, I went to Hampton. I went to Howard. I went to Hillcrest University. Right. It's like
we're gonna get named, rebranded.
It's the literal opposite of this ruling. Is my point, and I wonder, and it's not like I just wonder about that shit. It just seems like I don't want to go so doom and gloom that it's not based in like facts. I think we're gonna find out the answer to these things.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's hypothesis.
Yeah, maybe it's exactly what you say, but I just don't know how it can function, because being black is an integral part to a HBCU, and then you're saying that's not allowed anymore. No, don't consider race.
Well, so I did a thing where I listened to the arguments of the affirmative action case. So for every Senate hearing, you can go to their site and hear the oral argument. So I was listening to, right? And there's two things that stood out to me. Because one, they don't really say race. They keep bringing up color of your skin, color of your skin, color of your skin. If you and I'm just like, so how do you know someone's skin color? By what they write, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, are you saying you too light? Are you paper bag testing these people to get? You keep saying color of your skin. It's not about skin color. It's about heritage and people who were held back and the census of this and and those things. And then the other part of it is that so the group Students for Fair Admissions, right, that started these cases. It was kind of under the guise of, I think a lot of Asian Americans who were like, yo, we are not being accepted to these schools. We want to be accepted, right? And I understand that fight, and I get that fight. And it's like, hey, we want to be accepted. Hey, do your thing. I don't think it should have come at the expense of dismantling something for other people who are not white people. Like, it shouldn't come at our expense. It should have been like, hey, maybe there should have been something also allotted for you. Like, we want you to have it, but don't step on our backs. And
also, this is another fake case. This is another fake case. Like, it's an Asian dude from Canada coming down to like just to literally just be the face of this for these white folks, and he's gonna go back to Canada. He wants to run for office in Canada. Like, this is not once again another Republican not real case coming before the nakedly just power hungry Supreme Court that is like completely partisan at this point. It's just coming before them. It's just, this is a means to an end that we could have stopped. But people aren't that invested in. And this is the last thing I want to say on it, and then we can wrap up. But the thing that bothers me the most about all this is the response to it being like, so I see Kamala Harris didn't do anything, or, fix this Joe Biden. Or he can fix this with a stroke of his pen. And what's bothering me is, in addition to those things not being true, meaning all the solutions that are supposed to just be Joe Biden can do it by himself, all need to go through Congress.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of them will be challenged, and almost 100% guarantee they'll go to this Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So
and we need to march real quick. We don't need to march. I'll tell you this. I think some of the Republicans are crazy. Do what you want to do. But one thing they got right on that January 6th shit, they're like, fuck it. We on the other side haven't gotten to our fucking phase yet. And it's long overdue. It's long overdue. It's like the Republicans, they organize and like, or whatever, the fringe people, I don't want to organize and be like, hey, we all gonna get together and we're gonna say fuck it at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard. Here's the thing: it's hard for our side. It's hard for our side to have a fucking moment because
we know what it is.
Well, we also don't align on one issue.
Yeah,
like we are a coalition of people with different issues that, at the end of the day, will let other people's issues slide. You know, it's what Cameron said. We got gay marriage, fuck trans rights. You know, we got affirmative action. I don't care about gay people being discriminated against. Like, so white people have one last issue, and it's just whiteness. And so it's just like we didn't get what we want. We riding, you know. When we were like, should we ride? I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing that. So, but the thing,
I grab a snack?
Yeah, the thing I was gonna say though was the solutions being. People want very quick solutions that require very little work.
Right.
And so I'm a little worried that the response to a over 40-year organized right-wing plan that is paying off in 2023, you know, I'm a little worried that our solution being like, well, Joe Biden write an executive order is so fucking short-sighted and dumb that if he does it and it don't work, which is what happened with the first time we tried to do student loans, by the way.
Yes, sir.
And if it doesn't work, these motherfuckers are the go home type. They not the run up on the Capitol type. They not the run up on the vote booth type. They the go home type.
No,
and so I worry about that shit because I don't think this. I was talking with this was a fan of the show on social media, and I just said I want to take the conversation off social media because I can see how this is gonna be taken out of context, and I know we align on a lot of the same values, but what I'm saying is, to me, deeper than the thing you're saying. Like the thing you're saying is like we should try these things that we haven't tried before. Just on the off chance that maybe we can change the game, you know. So like, have Joe Biden write an executive order or institute a 1965 law and shit. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm not saying not to do it. What I'm saying is, when the shit don't work, because my belief is it won't work.
Oh, it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
it's not gonna work.
Right. So when the shit don't work, when are we gonna go back to basics, which is you just have to outvote these people.
Right.
Because I think that's the only real answer. I don't think all this other shit where like we're going to expand the court. Do you actually know what that process is, or are you just saying it? Because it's hard to get a Supreme Court justice confirmed as is. Now you want to create more and confirm a bunch of them? That is not
And what happens when there are just more people who are not thinking the way you want? So now instead of 6-3, it's now 9-3. What are we gonna do now? Like what? Stop this! I'm just like
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying it's like I get that people don't like when Joe Biden and them bring up the like. I hear what y'all saying, but if we do this and set a precedent, and then Republicans get in office, they are not like us. Like they won't have a filter of like, you know what, guys? For the spirit of the law, we should just go ahead and let the people have it. No, they're gonna be like, get 27 Supreme Court races in there. Like they not like it won't be a limit. And so I think our side doesn't like that we have to work at some point.
Yes.
And that it's not gonna be fancy. It's not gonna be flashy.
It's gonna be work. It's gonna be work.
It's just gonna be fucking work.
You're gonna have to slogan on the t-shirt.
You're gonna have to go into your community and change some minds.
Right.
You're gonna have to compromise with some people that you hate. You're gonna have to build coalitions with people that you don't see eye to eye with. You're gonna have to do something that doesn't necessarily make you look great,
right?
But it'll get you the win. Yeah. That's the thing that I see not being talked about enough. I just see a lot of like, well, what if we do this? And I'm like, well, nigga, it's a whole process. You can't just do that.
I'm just like, listen, ain't nothing else working. I just want to run up on the Capitol one time. I mean, we'll figure it out later. I just want to have like one time.
Exactly. Yeah. Why can't we? By the way, they still arresting them people from the Capitol. They still arresting them, by the way.
Hey, listen,
y'all know.
I'm just saying I'm not gonna be there, but I'm just saying. Let's just
like the one thing we do definitively know when it comes to the numbers, we actually do have more Democratic voters than Republican voters.
Mm-hmm.
We actually do, y'all. That's a number. We actually put a number on that. The Republican president hasn't won the popular vote since maybe Reagan. So like we do know we have the numbers. So that's a hard fact. So then the question becomes, why the fuck the numbers don't be numbering? and what can we do about that? And that's just hard work, man. That's more than just you gotta outwork them. It's the thing where everybody was like, Stacey Abrams is a genius. She figured out Georgia. And then when you talk to Stacey Abrams, what she say? We had to outvote them. She didn't have like this, like it's a master plan of like knowing where to vote, but she was straight up on some like, at the end of the day, what we did was we just went and got every fucking body that could vote and said, let's go vote. So I think that's what we should be thinking about rather than can we get the rights back immediately, because we know that that's not going to happen. Yeah. Because we had it on our side for 40 years and we fucked it off. Right. All right. Listen, all right. We got to get this up. All right. This has been fun. We always get to talking with Mike. Mike, tell everybody where to go to check out Comedy Outliers and to get the tickets one more time, please.
Go to YoMikeBrown.com, AmericanCollins.com, or UnionHallNY.com. Get your tickets. Comedy Outliers, Friday, July 7th at 10 p.m. Brooklyn, stand up, comedy, vibes. I promise you, I'm not going to talk about America on that. I'm not. I promise you. It's different. I might, if you come to the show and you're like, yo, do you really want to go to the Capitol? I'm gonna be like, yo, are you driving? But other than that, I'm chilling. I ain't gonna bring it up. We're gonna fuck around. Other than that, I ain't gonna bring it up. Come to the show.
Y'all already have y'all's lineup of what comedians y'all
we have a few that we announced. We have Assad Bembo, young dude, really, really funny. We got Zilla Bondis, who is fucking dope as shit. And we got Casey James Salengo. I know Casey. Yeah, and so you heard what it was. I have to do like, that's why that's the vibe. So these are people.
I love to see it, man.
And tell us about Decepticomics.
Decepticomics show that is going to be on July 31st. That's going to be in Brooklyn. You can get the tickets there at YoMikeBrown.com. The tickets for that are going up next week. So just stay tuned. Follow me at YoMikeBrown on everything, because I will be posting it and coming back, quote unquote, outside and feeding the monster of Instagram, but I'm not feeding it like these other comics. I'm just talking my shit. I'm giving you the vibes. I'm just giving you some comment like vibe.
Crowd work videos. You're not doing that.
No. Okay. I mean, unless it's a good video, unless it works, you gotta feed the beast. But
I say plant some people in the crowd. Plant some people in the crowd and just did that crowd work video.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some other shit. I'm gonna plant myself in the crowd. Watch, I'm gonna plant myself. It's gonna be different maze.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm saying like, listen, you see it.
That would be hilarious as fuck, as if you planted yourself in the crowd and made it seem like you was doing your own crowd work. That would be fucking. That's some meta shit. That's some can't stop, won't stop level.
Yeah, I'm yo, listen, I'm back outside, man. Y'all
right.
Do nothing with the game, man. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, man. This is fun. Behind the scenes, Mike worked with us because last week we got COVID. So we was gonna have him on last week, but we had to like move it, and he was so flexible.
Thank you, baby.
To work with. Thank you, brother, and good luck to Comedy Outliers. We'll be listening. Everybody else, we'll be back later on in the week. I know we have Simeon Goodson, we have Jael Covan coming up this week. We may take tomorrow off. It just depends on how it goes. Until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks, Bye.
That was fun.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.